All right, I'm recording, brother. Brian Marchi's in the house, Jersey. What's going on?
What is up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on? Where's the hat?
Where's the hat? You ready? You ready to
I'm
see
ready.
Jersey Strong? Here we go, baby.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You weren't ready for this.
Whoa!
Take that, you son of a bitch.
Wait, is that one of those? Bam!
That's one of those. Boom. Anyway, how are you doing?
Fantastic, man. It's good seeing you.
You too, and our story is crazy because where I started kind of in my life is where you ended up, which is pretty ironic.
Yeah, that's funny. I remember.
Yeah, I've known you since you were a teenager, and I was from
Yeah.
Chicago, and we would talk about Chicago. You had no idea. And then you ended up even working or being a manager of one of the, I guess, one of the top Hilton hotels in the country in the Midwest, the Chicago Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was younger, I used to do summer job there where I used to remove, when they would do all the TVs, we've discussed this at one time when they were shooting The Fugitive. My buddy was putting all the new televisions in, taking all the old ones out, and he knew I lifted a lot of weights. He's like, Rich, can you come in and remove and, go back and forth for the whole summer. So me and a bunch of buddies spent the whole summer at the Hilton, literally living there, inside the hotel, staying downtown. It was one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah.
And you ended up, after all what you've been through in hospitality, you ended up being at that hotel.
Yeah. Right? I remember when I first met you, I was coming down to Orlando to go to college, and I met you through my cousin Jojo, who was one of your best friends.
Yeah.
And I was you. I think there was Greg there too.
Sure.
And I can't remember somebody else. There was another person. But anyway, I remember having some of those discussions because I was all about Jersey, Jersey, Jersey. Never really been to Chicago. You're like, nah, Chicago's where it's at. I'm like, I'm never going to Chicago. I'm never going to Chicago. Forget about Chicago. And I'm in Chicago.
It is crazy. I ended up, even after working there, because I fell in love with that hotel. I think I don't know anybody who's in more hotels than myself. Chicago Hilton's unbelievable. But I ended up going there and doing a lot of filming for my second feature film. So that was kind of interesting because I remember I said, if I ever make a movie, I want to use this because you have a beautiful suite there. It's amazing. What is that, 5,000 square feet? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's Conrad Suites, the big mansion right up on top of the hotel, man. It's gorgeous.
So I rented that for a few days. We have a mutual friend there who was involved with the PR and everything. And she was able to let me go there, shoot there. I stayed there. It's an amazing experience. So
yeah,
let's first kind of take on your journey, because if I would have never expected when I met you when you were younger to kind of end up in a position you ended up in and moving up as far as you went and running that hotel, truthfully, because you don't know where people are heading in their life, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah, when I met you, you were more or less a young kid. I was in a Grand National. You were in a Mustang, right?
Yeah, 5.0.
You were 5.0. I was
5.0.
Turbo 2. What am I, turbo? 6-cylinder turbo?
Yeah, you were turbo.
You were anti-Grand National, and I was anti-mistake. Or wait, yeah, we used to call them the mistake. My father. Did you ever hear that before?
I have. That's funny.
But
I do love Grand Nationals now, and I do have a respect for them, so much so that one day I hope to. I probably gonna have to be used, but I would love to own a Grand National. They're gorgeous cars. They
are, and I go to a lot of car shows with my father, so I see a lot of them. I don't even. Are you watching any of my YouTube videos with all the shows I'm going to? The car shows.
I've watched the YouTube videos. I haven't seen ones that were recently posted. I saw the ones that you posted several months ago, though.
Yeah.
Of the cars, because every time you walk by one, I was like, oh, I want that one day. And then I looked at a friend of mine, and I said, I got to get a shirt that says one day ... one day I'm going to own some of these, but don't know when.
Nice. So when I met you, you were going to college. You weren't even talking hospitality necessarily, but I knew you were obsessed with Disney World and Mickey Mouse, and
still am.
You even got married there. Correct?
Yeah. No.
Honeymoon?
Married in Jersey.
But honeymoon.
Honeymoon there. Yeah.
Would you stay at Grand Floridian? What'd you do?
Well, we did actually stayed at one of the Hilton properties. Gosh, I think it was Lake Buena Vista at the time. That was one of the properties I grew up going through the train of Hilton. That was one of the properties I was at. So I stayed there for a little bit when we were there.
Nice. And I've been coming to Orlando since I was 5. So I was here before even Epcot. I was here before it was just SeaWorld, literally, in Disney World. That was the original thing.
Yeah.
And then you had Busch Gardens. You're a lot younger.
Tampa, Busch Gardens.
Yeah, that was the place too back in the early 70s.
I remember that place.
And Cypress Gardens, which was kind of
I
more,
did Cypress too.
Yeah, it's all school. And then they had another park, Circus World. Was that
Circus World? Yeah, I've been there too. Am I showing my age right now? Yeah. Oh gosh.
So we used to do all these parks back in the 70s, and then Wet n Wild was huge. But
wait. Can we also say, what about the Stars Hall of Fame that used to be open right on I-4, right before SeaWorld?
It's crazy, right? Yeah, that's old school.
And then what was it? The Mystery Funhouse, right across where Universal used to be, where that Holiday Inn is, right there.
Right behind it, right off Kirkman. It's right behind.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's Hilton Twin Towers, correct? Is that what?
It's a DoubleTree. Radisson Double. Oh, no, it used to be a Radisson. Now it's a DoubleTree Twin Towers. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, right next to it. Yeah. That's gone. There's a lot of things that changed in Orlando over the years. It's unbelievable. But when you left Jersey, your parents had a condominium in Florida near my close friend Joe's house. So you decided to move here. But if I'm not mistaken, you were I don't think you knew exactly what you really wanted to do. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, you're right. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure. I was like, you know what, all right, I got to go to college for a little bit. I got to figure something out. And at the same time, while my parents had a house, I had, my uncle, my aunt down here, my cousins down here. I'm like, all right, Orlando seems like the place to go. And they got Disney.
Yeah. So when you first went to, where'd you go? Did you go to Valencia?
No, it was actually called Orlando College, private college off of I-4, 4-year college. Then it changed names like 2 or 3 times. Still there. It's by that Maserati Ferrari dealership, I think, in Orlando there.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's Everest now, something like that.
I think you're right. Or something similar. It's right over there. Did you decide when you started college to go into hospitality because you were in Orlando, or were you thinking of something else?
No, I didn't. I was thinking sales or something. I really didn't get into hospitality until I saw a movie, and the movie really turned me on to hospitality.
What was the movie?
And that's it. For Love or Money with Michael J. Fox. He's a Manhattan concierge.
Gotcha.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I want to be that. I want to be that guy.
That's interesting. So then you went on the path then, because a lot of people come to Orlando to work for Rosen, go to Valencia, UCF, because obviously it's one of the most popular places in the world to visit, and most of the town revolves around hospitality. But you kind of on the flip side didn't do that. So you left college. How did you end up getting into hospitality then?
So I went back to Jersey after that, after 2 years, did a couple odd and end jobs. And at that point, it was, I guess, 1993, maybe. I think that's when the movie came out, For Love or Money.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it, that was it. I started getting my resume ready. I'm like, you know what? I stay at hotels all the time. I traveled as a kid growing up with my parents, my brother, my sister.
Sure.
I traveled with throughout the States, even with my uncle, my aunt. And I was like, you know what? I love hotels. I love the way, they treat people. I love treating people good. I think it's a great feeling when you can help people out no matter what.
Absolutely.
I never look for something back in return. It's just knowing that I helped somebody. And at that point, I was just, you know what? I want to be that. But at the same time, I want to be able to get this and get that. And when somebody needs this, I spare the moment. I want to be able to do it and, just take care of it. And that way they can just say, hey, thanks for helping me out. And that was it.
All right. And you're such an interesting person because as much as you love Disney, a lot of guys that love Disney, as you know, their dream is to go run Disney, be the president of Disney one day, get involved with all that. You love Disney, but you never looked at it as a career. And on the flip side, you ended up almost becoming a part of the same industry to a certain degree, right? Hospitality.
Yeah. And I didn't choose Disney because for me, it was all about the magic. And I felt if I worked for Disney, then I would know all the little things behind the scenes. I'm like, nah, I can't know that, man. I need to walk in down Main Street as a guest.
Yeah, my daughters feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lose the ambiance, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And have you off topic real quick? Have you been watching on Disney Plus? It's the what is the show? It's
Mandalorian.
No, that one's good. It's the whole history of Disney through the not the engineers. I forgot the word. it'll jump to me. It's all the people that were behind creating Disney. And it's amazing because they start off with Disneyland, they go into Disney World, then they proceed into even Epcot. They show Paris and Tokyo, what went into creating each one of them, how they went into the cruise industry. Not engineers. Imagineers.
I don't know. Oh, Imagineers. Okay.
It's amazing. It's their whole history of their, like, what they've gone through over so many decades. It's one of the most amazing documentary series I've ever seen. So,
yeah, I haven't seen it, but I look forward to seeing it. I mean, I've even got on my back, I got one of those. I got inked up a little bit, through the years. Yeah. So I got. I don't know if you ever seen The Lion King.
Yeah.
So where Rafiki is, where Rafiki draws little tiny Simba, and he draws the little thing on the top, and he's like, "Yeah, it is time." So I have that, and on the back it says Hakuna Matata.
Unbelievable.
So all about no worries.
So you then, let's jump into, you decided to go hospitality. Would you go start with Hilton, and you've been with them ever since?
It's a great story. So I went where I live in Jersey, right off exit 9 on the Jersey Turnpike. There is a Hilton. It's still there to this day. And at that time, it was a corporate property, and a Hilton East Brunswick, New Jersey. And I applied there. It's 405 rooms. And they're like, no, you don't have any experience, but thank you for the application. And that's what I actually found out by applying to all the positions in hotels. I wanted to go, somewhere in the front desk. I wanted to be I looked at the front desk because that's the main hub for a hotel.
Sure.
At least how I looked at it. And every hotel did the same thing until I got my one chance. And it was at a Ramada Inn in Jersey on exit 10. It's 186 rooms, and you always remember the one person who gives you a break. Yeah. So I always remembered this woman who gave me that break. And then during the interview, we're sitting there, and she says the same thing like they all say. I see you got a lot of will to want to do this, but you just don't have experience. And I told her, I said, can I mention her name on here? I can mention her name, right?
If you want to, maybe? Sure.
Rebecca. Rebecca. Her name is Rebecca. And I was like, Rebecca. I was like, this is what I want to do. I said, everybody's told me, no experience. But look at yourself. Somebody gave you one shot. Give me one shot. Let me show you what I got. I'm like, come on. Just one shot, please.
Right.
And I was like that, which I never get like that in an interview ever. But I was at like, oh my gosh, after like 15 hotels of, well, you never worked in a hotel. We can't use you right now, but if something changes. And I'm like, oh gosh. So she did, and I gave her a year and a half of my time. And I told her after that, she hired me. She's like, I'm going to give you a shot. 2 weeks later, she called. And I was like, you won't regret this. You won't regret it. And she never regretted it. And after a year and a half being there, I told her, I said, okay, it's time. I said, that hotel right there on exit 9, I'm going back, and I'm going to apply to that Hilton. I said, and I want your blessing. A lot of times people nowadays, they don't tell their bosses anything. They just, do the thing. And I don't believe in that. I believe, make sure that, if you work well with your bosses, sure, make sure that they know what you're thinking and where you're at. So they trust you. And so she said, absolutely, you go. I will be a reference for you. And then they hired me.
And what position did she hire you at?
So she hired me as a guest service agent, or the acronym in hotels is GSA. Okay. Nowadays, I think they call them guest service representative, changed over the years. And then I got promoted from there as a front office supervisor.
Okay.
And then when I applied to Hilton East Brunswick, the person was, hey, we only have a communications operator available. It pays you like $3.50 less, though. If you're willing to go for it, we'd love to have you on board. And I was like, done. I was living at the home at the time with my parents, and I was living at home with a good Italian family. They take care of their sons,
Right.
And so I was like, finished, done. I went for it, even though it was paying me less as an operator, because for me, you got to start somewhere, and it was 405 rooms. And I'm like, oh, and that was it.
Now, let me ask you this then. So you were at the Ramada. Was your dream to work at the Hilton just specifically because you saw it all the time, or because it was close, or would you have went to the Marriott, or what? I'm just saying.
So it was Hilton because there was a couple of functions that people who I'd known had there, weddings. and it was gorgeous.
Okay.
And at that time, that was the premier hotel in Central Jersey. There were some other hotel names in there. There's Hyatts and Marriotts too and stuff, and they were gorgeous too. But this was the hotel. It was at that time the biggest in Central Jersey in that area, and so therefore I looked at it as, well, if you're going to go big. So
how long were you there?
I was there for about 3.5 years. I grew through the front office in various departments before I then made the next jump with the company, which was down to Orlando after about 3.5 years there. Worked the overnight. So when somebody says, man, it's tough working the overnight, I'm like, yeah, I know. I did it for over a year. Matter of fact, I'm a light sleeper. That in my room, I had hefty black bags over the windows for the morning and the afternoon so I could sleep. And it was like the bat cave.
So you ended up, so you took the job in Orlando. Did you come to Orlando because it was more money or because you wanted to be near Disney World? Combination? What's the whole better job opportunity?
You know what? Well, a great general manager, you have mentors throughout the years, and I have several mentors of mine that really have helped me. So the general manager at the Hilton East Brunswick helped me a little bit with understanding what I need to do. And in order to grow in our industry, one of the things back then to do is you got to move around a little bit to get promoted. So, at that point, it was only a couple places, New York, which is right next door, loved Manhattan. And then, of course, Orlando, because I got family in Orlando. Half the family was there. So at that point, it wasn't like, I want to go West Coast, let me go Midwest and all these things. So New York, it was hard to really break into New York because, if you got some good qualified managers at your own hotel, or some, supervisors, you're going to promote them. So in Hilton Lake Buena Vista, they was a supervisor position. So I actually took a step back in order to gain a convention hotel experience in order for me to be able to move forward. So I went from being an assistant manager at Hilton East Brunswick to Orlando as a supervisor. And again, had some great mentors there while I was there for a year before I got promoted on from there.
Gotcha. So then from Orlando, where'd you go from there then? Is that when you went to Chicago or no? Or back to Jersey?
So then I get promoted onto the Hilton Charlotte. At that point, we owned that hotel. We just had purchased it and took that hotel over. And there's a position as a front office manager. So I applied. And it was funny because back in that time, sometimes you apply when you're told. And so I had one of the senior vice presidents at that point was based out of that hotel. Really great guy. He's been retired ever since, and looked at me and goes, "Brian, you are going to Charlotte as the front office manager. Do you object?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. That's a great promotion for me. I'll take it. Thank you very much." So
what happened? Go ahead.
So then from there, I got there, and then after working there for a little bit, got promoted again at that same hotel. I was there altogether as about 2.5 years in Charlotte, and then got promoted to the next property after being there 2.5 years.
Where'd you go from there? Because I mean, this is almost like military, where you get sent from base to base. This isn't easy on a family either, especially when you're trying to raise kids. But is this what a lot of you guys go through to keep moving up in the ranks in hotels a lot of times? Yeah.
So a lot of times back then you did. Now you still need to in a certain way now, but it's not as much, as things evolve in our industry. You can stay at a hotel, get promoted, or stay in a city and just be within the city and getting promoted at several properties. Back then there wasn't as many properties as you actually have now. For a lot of management properties. I mean, it's over double the amount. I mean, probably quadruple the amount compared to back then. Now there's every major city has one, even the towns. I mean, you can be within 30, 40 miles of 5 different properties that are managed properties.
Gotcha.
So you can, and it does help, but you don't have to as much. Like back then, a general manager at a hotel, you probably had to move around a lot. But as things evolved, it's more family oriented and look, we don't want to just up and move your family all the time. So you know what? You can stay at this property for a while and be here for 10 years. You're no longer 3 to 5 anymore or anything like that. So it's changed and evolved for the better.
It's almost like
I did go to Newark Airport.
Oh, you did? You went. I was going to say, it almost sounds like you guys are athletes to a certain degree, right? You're kind of being traded instead of from team to team, hotel to hotel. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying
hotel
that.
Athletes.
Of course. Yeah, right. You're kind of moving up in the ranks.
Yeah.
It's got to be a great adventure. But, okay, after Charlotte, you went to what were you
Newark
saying?
Airport Hilton. And that was my first director position with the company as an executive committee member.
And that's attached to the hotel airport? I'm sorry. Is that affiliated?
No, it's not attached to the airport. It's just off the airport. It's about a mile from the airport.
I stayed there.
Right off on exit 9 there. So it's just off it. There is a hotel, a Marriott, that's right in the airport, which is a great property too. But no, we were about another half a mile away from that. And that's 378 rooms. So it was a great experience.
Nice. And then where the hell we headed now?
Okay. So at that point, after a year and a half, as a lot of headhunters do, they call you up and they're constantly calling you up. And, I'm young and I was listening to one of the headhunters. And so they kind of lured me away, threw a bunch of dollar figures at you. And, at the same time, it's my first time saying, after being with the company 10.5 years, maybe I should try something else different, learn another company.
Right.
So I did. So I worked at a couple of companies for the 2.5 years in that stint. Great companies. 2 different hotels during that 2.5 years.
Sure.
But I never left Hilton with a bad situation. So I've always kept my friends with the company.
Sure.
And after 2.5 years away, it was nothing against those other, hotel companies.
Sure.
It just wasn't something for me.
Right. You just want to go back home.
So after 2.5 years, I finally got a calling to apply and come back and for a position, but it was this is not even on the East Coast anymore. This is like wait, where are you going? And I got the position and I came back to Hilton and been with Hilton since 2000. And so I left Hilton around 2002, 2003, came back in about 2005.
Wow. And when did you go so let's just jump to Chicago because there's so much shit going on with you. When did you,
real quick,
tell me how you got that.
I went to Omaha because a lot of people go, Jersey boys in Omaha. What the heck's going on in Omaha? So from Omaha, I went to Washington, D.C. at that Hilton. Yeah. And then from Washington, D.C. at the famous Washington Hilton. That's where everybody knows President Reagan was shot at. I was there. And then after that, got promoted into Hilton Chicago. And then I came to Chicago out here in 2012 and I've been here since.
Wow. And you're the number 2 guy there. I mean, that's a big.
So, I'm the hotel manager there. My general manager, amazing guy. He's one of my mentors. And I'm proud to work with him. So,
how many rooms is in that Chicago Hilton?
1,544. A lot of movies. About 235,000 square footage of meeting room space.
Right.
Matter of fact, a quick thing when you mentioned about the Conrad Suite before. Yeah. So for anybody who's never or anybody who's seen Home Alone 2, part 2, where he's in New York at the Plaza, it's actually not the Plaza. That's the Conrad Suite in the Hilton Chicago when they filmed it.
That's the same room I used for my film, right?
Yes.
They ripped me off. I'm just kidding. His was before mine, I think. So anyways, that's awesome. When I was there, they were shooting The Fugitive. Even when we were working, they were doing the helicopter scenes. We came in the week they were wrapping up, though. So it was a transitional thing. And I think they ended up staying a week longer or 2, which kind of became a little confusing because we're both using your freight elevators at that point in time, the production crew. But they were spending so much money, the film industry. But is the Hilton Chicago the biggest Hilton in the Midwest?
No. Well, no. Actually, even the Palmer House is bigger. The Palmer House, which is our hood, which is
we did
Hilton,
the Palmer House too. Yeah,
It's about 6 blocks away. It's a gorgeous hotel.
It is.
The Palmer House, I think, is 1,649 rooms and about 110,000 square footage of meeting room space. So when it comes to guest rooms, they are more than we are. But when it comes to meeting room space, we got a lot more than they do. So
you got a great location being across from Soldier Field. Let's call it for what it is.
Oh, yeah, Grant Park, where they had the famous presidential thing there with Obama and stuff back then.
Yeah, the McCormick place right around the corner.
Yeah.
All that. Which it's just a great spot.
Especially in the summer. Gorgeous.
It is.
Oh.
It's easy accessibility, and you're near Columbia University around the corner there.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah.
We do. We house a lot of the parents that come in and visit their kids that go to college there. They stay with us.
Yeah, and I think I fell in love with the Hilton because even though I wasn't working for Hilton, I was working with them at a very young age. So now that I travel everywhere, I make fun of you all the time. We goof around because I say I'm in the Hilton more than you are. Because and I get my status. What am I, gold status in like a month because I do or a month and a half?
Well, you were a diamond.
Diamond. I'm sorry, I make diamond like in a month and a half. Month and a half. They don't even stop me from diamond now. I think they're just like, Rich, you're just kind of you're.
I think you're lifetime. You'd probably be by lifetime by now.
I don't think so. Rhea close. Rhea loves. Like, she used to be a Marriott girl. She jumped to Hilton, never looked back. She loves Hilton, will only really stay in Hilton. She's kind of Hilton snobs. Those type. I call her the Hilton snob. Because even sometimes you'll be in a pinch. I'm like, we can't do that. Okay, we're in Hawaii. We can't always make it, if they're booked or this or that. Just No. You don't realize we're going to make it work. I'll find one. I'm like, yeah, because you're not driving. I got to drive the half an hour to find one an hour. Anyways. Oh, my goodness. So that's good. What do you think now? And we're going to talk about fitness as well, because this is kind of how me and you have been going back and forth, more fitness related. But, if you want to kind of give me a heads up on what's going on as far as what you're going through personally through the coronavirus stuff, and then where you think kind of the future of hospitality is going to be, hotels, just, not in a negative way. Like I'm saying.
Absolutely. Everything is positive.
Yeah, and what you're going through right now with your job, how hard it is for a lot of people, because
So our hotel right now is suspended. We don't call it closed. We call it suspended because when people tend to hear closed, it becomes, well, you're closed. You're never going to open, and we will open, and we will be bigger and better than ever before. We have great owners. We got a great management team. And right now, this is what we need to do in order to help the process. Sure. And then once everything comes back, because it will, our economy is going to come back and it will grow and everybody's going to want to show and make this succeed more than ever before because we're hungry for it. And you see this, and it's not just with us as a Hilton, it's, you see it across the brands of different companies, whether it's Marriott, Hyatt, the Sheraton, which obviously is part of the Marriott chain now. And then you see the smaller hotels, whether it's Best Western, Holiday Inns, and you see the heart. And they come up with this, that heart that it's on the lights on the hotel in a heart shape. Yeah. Because we all stand for one thing, and that's helping each other out, getting through this and uniting together as one. And so I think, the best thing is when we do come back and how we're ready to take care of guests, because realistically, there's people out there that are in hotels for a job, and I get that, which is great. Sure. And then there's people out there that have a lot of passion for what they do in a hotel. If you ask,
that's you. Yeah, you love your job.
If you ask, I love my job.
You love
and that's
it.
why.
And you love people.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I don't care if it's a 15-hour day, a 17-hour day. It doesn't matter to me, because when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work to you. Yeah. And if there's one thing I think a lot of us all realize is how much we love to serve people. It really is. Yeah. And so a lot of us who might be at home furloughed or waiting and for us to open back up and stuff, we're looking for things to do outside that we can in helping others, even if it's just giving some of our time up to the food pantry place or the local schools And hey, if you're doing if you're doing pickup lunch curbside for the children in these middle schools, hey, I'm here to help. If you need an extra hand, let me know. I'll make sure, obviously you got to follow the guidelines of sterilization and stuff, but you can't take it out of us when you do it for such a long time, and I think a lot of hoteliers will agree. A lot of times you're walking, whether it's in a restaurant, a mall, a supermarket, you see something on the floor, you want to pick it up because you're late. You're so used to it in your own hotel, like, hey, there's garbage on the floor. We can't have that.
Right.
And that just shows you it's a will to serve. It's a will to want to help. So that's what's happening right now. Our industry is crushed, but like a lot of industries, you can't take away some of the others. It's a domino effect from obviously the restaurants, the airlines. I mean, even to restaurant or the ones that supply restaurants, what restaurants wear, steam table pots, pans for. No restaurants are open, so they're not purchasing anything, and so the manufacturers aren't manufacturing anything. Distributors aren't selling. I mean, it's a downward effect. Even when you're buying suits, if you're not working, you can't buy suits. So
uniforms again for you guys, everything.
Right. It's just. So again, when it comes back, it's going to come back bigger and better before. There is a hope, and that's why you hear the hoteliers always talking about hope, because there is a hope. And I know there's some out there that sometimes say hope isn't a strategy, but it is. You believe in God, and you believe in family, you believe in faith, and you hope. It comes back. And if you're all together in it, and I think we all are, you're going to see it come back like bigger and better than before.
Yeah, I mean, you are such a... You're like a preacher. You're always so positive, man.
Jersey strong.
There it is. I've spent so much time in Jersey. I think I've spent about a year of my life in Jersey and New York at this point, just them two. And I always think about you when I'm in Jersey, and I put up YouTube videos, and you see them sometimes with the gyms, restaurants. What do you think, as far as, because a lot of people, airlines included, going off and on a plane now, sterilizing that plane in a short amount of time that they have. Same with the hotel industry. Do you think they're going to change, or people are going to be nervous to start going in hotels because of the virus? Are they going to be able to, what do you think the future for hotels is regarding keeping up with that aspect of it, I guess you could say? Because there are going to be people nervous to go inside of a hotel now, who was there before. I think before we were kind of more nonchalant. We knew that everything was clean, but what do you think? You going to maybe change certain things, or?
Yeah, I think that there is going to be a nervous feeling for a lot of people. And I'm only using restaurants as an example because, and the reason why I'm using that as an example, I'll bring it right back into hotels in a moment, is when you go to a restaurant, the thought process is the sterilization in the back, hands are cleaned. Nobody's, spitting in the food or anything like that. Nobody's doing anything. I mean, you trust the restaurant.
Yes.
And so there's going to be some situations out there where people aren't going to trust something until they see it, until we can show that, there are things being done behind the scenes, because as hotels come back online or as hotels are still open, there's new checklists that have to be done. There's going to be a new portfolio and platform of how we sterilize the room, how we sterilize counters. You might see from now on, moving forward, just like when you go to a grocery store, you might see these when you see these shields now, you might see that in certain hotels in front of the front desk, because of just a lot of people,
breathing on one another.
Breathing on one another. And it's a known fact, when you're close, you project some saliva that you don't see necessarily.
Sure.
So yes, there's going to be some changes. What they are, I don't know yet. I do know that they'll be coming. I do know that a lot of corporations are looking at it and seeing what do we have to do to ensure that not just the American people, but people abroad feel comfortable and confident that when they come, the name stands behind it. And to give you an example, let's just say Hilton for a moment. For people who might never have stayed at a hotel, they know the name Hilton. It stands for something. It symbolizes something.
Sure.
That Conrad built into all of us and spreading the light and the warmth. So for that, there's more to come. And I think as hotels do open up, you're going to see soft openings. They may not be taking you know, 1,000 rooms, you may not open up to 1,000 rooms.
Sure.
You may open up to 400 and see how it goes. And then from there, 800. No different than some of the movie theaters that may open up with, we're only opening up 5 out of the 20 theaters we have. And every 4 seats, it's going to be vacant. So that way, you know, we practice, you know,
social distancing.
Safeness.
Yeah,
social distancing. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, I've been talking to a lot of guys about, you know, it seems regarding fitness too, and flying as well. You know, a lot of people I think are going to be nervous to fly. But when it comes back to the gym, so I was going to say regarding gyms, like some guys I talk to, they're dying to run back because they've been working out their entire life. They're gym rats. They don't know any better. And then I even know a lot of people that work out that do not want to go to a gym anymore, want to quit. So I kind of see what, you know, with the hotels, I think, again, airlines, gyms, restaurants as well. It's a touchy situation because you're going into bed, obviously, the same day after somebody else was there, most likely. So that's not an easy sell sometimes. That's going to, like you said, a soft opening would probably be the best way to go about it, I presume.
And you know, and in the past, like every guest, every sheet gets taken off. Every, you know, nowadays it might not, you know, with preserving water, you know, when you're in a hotel for 3 days, it even says if you want to preserve water, you know, place this card on your bed. You know, some guests may not do that. Some guests may want to know they got clean sheets every day, regardless of whether 3 nights, 4 nights, 5 nights.
Sure.
You know, and so we have to see, and we're going to look to, you know, what they, I don't want to say dictates, the wrong word, but realistically, you know, as hotels, we change based on the needs of guests, right? I mean, there was a whole big thing. Remember how one time back in the day, hotels made a lot of money on internet, but the guests were like, no, why are you charging internet? We can't charge for internet. So we said, okay, you know what? Join up Hilton Honors and we'll give you internet free, but join up our program because it's a great program. Sure. And so everybody who's a Hilton Honors member who joins up gets free internet, you know?
Right.
So we're going to see the guests.
It's adapting.
Right.
Yeah. It's really adaptability or whatever. Yeah.
We always say you know, it's funny. One of the things behind the scenes, we always say, who's the guest, or the guest is the boss. That's who the boss is, the guest, because they're the ones that tell us what kind of food they want, how they want it cooked, what kind of things to have in our hotels, what not to have in our hotel. They're the ones. And when you see a lot of guests that say the same thing over and over, what do? You make a change. So they're in essence the boss. They tell us what they want.
That's awesome.
But, hey, can we say something about the workout real quick?
No, we're going to get into that right now. I was going to say.
Oh, okay. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, because I know that was the main. It's funny because me and you first we're going to do a podcast on fitness because you're doing a lot of different things fitness related, and thank you for being such a huge fan of my YouTube fitness, my podcast. You're awesome with that.
Oh yeah. I look forward to that. It helps me because when you don't have a personal trainer, and you know, and I know that you're not charging me to be a personal trainer of mine, of course. You know, because it pays to know you over 30 years through, you know, through my cousin. It helps me. And, you know, I had to make a change several years ago, and I did. And I'm not there yet, but this is a little tough for me. So I had somebody bring home some dumbbells for me, and I got some weights, and I've been using YouTube. I use some of your things, and then I use some of those, you know, 10-minute cardio weights and stuff.
Sure.
I just started this week. This is my 3rd workout, and it is kicking my ass. I wake up, my thighs, my ass is hurting me, my calves are hurting me, everything's hurting me. I'm like, but I worked out in the gym. But I guess you don't realize when you're on a treadmill, you're on an elliptical, you're working out only so many muscles.
Correct.
And so this other workout, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm stiff. Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of at when on my workout. So it's been good. Today I did biceps. Nice. 20 minutes. That's with stoppage. Well, 20 minutes total. It's about 25 minutes, so with some stoppage time in it. And then I did a 10-minute cardio. And then I did and in that cardio, I encompassed core, of course, because I got to do something while at home, you know?
Absolutely.
Without gyms.
But
I feel great.
That's the key. I'm putting up a video today on a girl who lost 170 pounds. I'm going to be posting.
God bless.
Yeah, she's got a lot of amazing information. You may want to connect with her. She's great. Her thing, and what's interesting about her is she was 300 pounds, got down to 130. And what I was right about to, let me see if it posted. Amber Lungi. It was in the middle of posting it before our thing. Let's see. I just haven't shared it. Yeah, it's finished processing. Okay. Anyways, she originally was not a gym rat type of girl or went that route. She went with training at home. She was intimidated, sounds like, by going to a gym, didn't like the environment. She did everything at home, prepping meals, working out at home. And now she's expanding and teaching that online, which worked out perfectly for her during this crisis because she shows you don't have to go to a gym necessarily to get in shape, which I always say that as well. There's a lot of other things you can do. I'm also going to be doing Mike Mango, who's a friend of mine in Chicago. He lost, I think he went from almost 300 to 185. I'll be posting his video as well. And you may want to listen to him. He's got some really good information.
Nice.
Well, so
yeah,
anyways.
I love listening. I love looking and you know, I think the biggest thing I can tell somebody, because I think sometimes it can be overwhelming when you see all these different videos and all these different people and stuff are telling you all these different things, and some are a little different than this. What helped me is I have a black book that I write down everything. And
yeah, I did a video on that.
Yeah. And I know, and I write everything down to say, okay, this is my workout this week. So that way I can block, and not that everything is noise, but I have to block out all this noise first. Gotcha. Once I'm done with that video and that workout or those weight training for that week or two, then I can go, okay, let me try somebody else's and do something a little different. Because each person is going to work out something a little different. Of course. But, you know, when you have and one of my problems in the past is, you're sitting there working out, I would do this. Or and then you're in the gym, you're working out and somebody's like, it helps you do that, do this. And you're like, and before you know it, you kind of lose yourself through it. So I would just say, for me, what helped me is focus on this. Like this week, this is my week. I know which ones I'm doing. I know how I'm going to do it. If I can add more time to it, I will. And the next week, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and I talk about this all the time. No one leads the same life. You have to figure out, and it may not take months, it may take years to figure out your body and what physical activities are working best for you. I've been doing it my entire life, and I'm still learning every day, even by watching YouTube, trying different things. We're all a student of our bodies and fitness. And the more you evolve, I think the better off you're going to be, because again, our life is constantly changing. The life you're leading now wasn't the same life you led 5 years ago. And the life you're going to lead in the next year is not going to be the one you're leading now. But yeah, we all eat at different times, sleep different times, work at different times. Again, for someone like you put so much time and effort into it. You have to adapt. It's not like a lot of people just work from 9 to 5. All right, I'm going to do a morning workout. I'm going to do a after dinner workout, or whatever the case may be. You in your profession, because I think sometimes even your hours change, and then you may be there later. You sometimes go in earlier. Again, that's not easy on someone like you, but you have to learn to adapt to get the most out of every workout and have a lot of energy when you're doing your workouts. Because someone like you, who I know works very hard, very long hours, it's not easy, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially at our age. It's not like you're 20 years old doing that, and you have a family as well. So you got to incorporate that. So,
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And just say, I got to tell you, it's helped me to watch your stuff. So, for anybody who sees this or this posting, honestly, I enjoy looking and listening to what you have to say. I take notes on it. And it's helped me. And that's why I'm like, hey, keep them coming. When I don't hear one coming out, I'm like, hey, where you been? What's going on?
Well, thank you. Yeah. When I did my videos, of course I did some of me working out. And there's millions of dudes who work out that are trainers and better shape than me, stronger than me, and all those things. And I've been in so many different positions in my life, even weight-wise, strength-wise, all those things. But I said, you know what? I want to talk more about what people are going to go through. or what you're going to have to learn about fitness, if that makes sense. It could be as simple as doing a video on a grip. It could be as simple as saying, hey, figuring out exactly what time of the day is the best for you when working out. Talking about don't get obsessed with diets, right? Because most people have to realize they're not going to stick with the diet. How to control maybe your weight fluctuating, because I go through that. All these different types of things, I just wanted to talk about them because I don't think a lot of people talk about that. It's always like, hey, you want great abs? I'm going to show you 6 ab workouts in the next 20 minutes, and we're going to go through them and this and that, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be like, hey, dude, for especially the average Joe out there, most likely you're not going to have a six-pack unless you have the genetics for it, unless you diet, or unless you really kick it in the ass. But if you do want to trim down and get your weight down to this, start here. I'm kind of like the guy who says, let's start somewhere. Don't get intimidated in thinking you have to have a six-pack, or if you don't do these exercises, you won't get one either. It's more or less saying, hey, take an honest approach, be realistic, start somewhere and realize this is a lifelong kind of journey. So
that's why I like yours, because when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, that's speaking to me. Yeah. And some of your great work, and again, I'm not here to, try to put you on a pedestal. I'm being honest. Some of your great work is you walking out of the gym for 2.5 minutes and going, hey, I just want to let you know, sometimes when you're in a gym, this is what's going on in your head. But don't worry about all that stuff. You need to, some of your work is you're not even in the gym. It's just 2.5, 3 minutes. Yeah. And I go, that's a good point. I didn't think of that, because I feel that way at times. I'm like, got to jot that down in my book, and I got to read it back to myself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was too caught up, too. I think a lot of times making your video perfect, and I was just talking with somebody yesterday about this. They're like, Rich, man, you don't give a shit. Like, you walk with your camera, and you'll walk, and then you'll put it on a hand sanitizer and just start talking in the middle of a workout thing. You should get professional audio. I says, get the hell out of here. When something comes to my head, it comes to me. I can't wait. I'm not going to always be writing it down. Plus, it's almost like an adrenaline thing. I'm working out, and then I'm like, okay, let me help someone here on what I stretch for biceps and what I do after each workout. Let me show them that maybe, or let me talk about this. So it works for me. I know it's off the cuff, but I appreciate all your, I appreciate you just watching them.
Oh, yeah.
When I do them, I think of guys like you too. I don't think of people, because most people are not going to become a pro athlete. They're not going to do a marathon. They're not going to do a triathlon. They're not going to, go for Mr. Olympia. They're not going to be a powerlifting, whatever. They're not going to be a yoga master. Most people, if you want to go do it, God bless you. I think in terms of someone like yourself who just wants to get in good shape, maybe someone who's just starting, or somebody who's been in it a while that kind of plateaus, flatlines, not getting the results they're getting, or kind of getting bored. I take on all those things and say, listen, I've been through it all too. Your weight's going to fluctuate a lot of times, right? You're not going to always be you think you're in good shape. A lot of times you're not in as good a shape as you think you are. Other times you may think you're a piece of shit, but you're actually in better shape than you think, like the flip side of that. So I just want people to really understand that they're going to have ups and downs. I always talk about it. You're going to have good days, good weeks, good months, bad months, good years, bad years, even when it comes to working out. It's just going to happen that way. You have to fight through it. And it's like I said, it's for life. If you think it's 6 months, I'm going to try this and then see how I feel. Most likely, if you have that attitude, you're going to quit. Or, you're just not going to keep the interest. You got to look at it like this is an adventure. If I don't get the results I wanted, then I have to take a different approach. And if that approach doesn't work, I have to take another approach. Saying you go to one gym, you sign up there, and that gym doesn't work for you, right? And you may not like the people, you don't like the environment, it just may be too advanced, or it just may not have what you want. You may go to a Planet Fitness, and they don't have a swimming pool. You may want to swim. You may go to a Lifetime Fitness on the flip side and be like, I love it, has everything, but it's more family orientated and too busy. Depending on what time of day you go. You may go to LA Fitness and be like, I like this place because it has basketball and racquetball. The thing is, you got to get off your ass and you got to figure out what works best for you and put yourself in the environment. And I talk about it a lot of times. If you are introverted, hypothetically, and you don't like to work out with people, I get it. You know what I mean? But if you're kind of social, you definitely want to start doing things and hanging out with people that love to do what you're doing, that can obviously. That could be joining a runner's club, a cycling club, going and to joining a crew club. It could be something outrageous. Doing water aerobics, whatever you like to do. So anyways. So what do you want to wrap this thing up with? Go ahead.
Well, two things. First, I want to let you, I'm in my Florida room, right? I call it a Florida room.
Yeah.
So as I live out here, it's funny because you're in Florida. And I'm like, well, I don't got palm trees behind me. I got no palm trees. I got no palm trees. I got dead trees.
There you go.
Dead trees.
There you go.
See, that's nice.
There's the link.
That's beautiful.
Rub it in.
It's funny because when I got out here, we looked for a room like this at the house, and I'm like, this is a great Florida room, and everybody's like, what? What the hell's a Florida room? Yeah. I'm like, well, in Jersey, you got to understand, back then, you took 2 vacations, one to the Jersey Shore, and you went to Florida. And that's it. And when people from Jersey went to Florida and they seen these screen, whatever you call them back, they were like, wow, that's a great looking Florida room.
Yep.
And so therefore, people don't know what, they're like, a Florida room. You got a Florida room? What's that? It's a room like they have in Florida in the back part of it. Oh, like a screened-in back porch? I'm like, yeah, whatever. That one. So
when I was younger, I'd go to Fort Lauderdale with my family in Boca, Pompano. They all had condos. My aunts and uncles, the wealthy ones, and they would call the screened-in areas of even the condos Florida rooms. Like, they were patios but even when they were higher up, I used to get off the ocean. And they would open the door or open, some have windows you open. It's all, and I used to get the best sleeps of my life when I was younger in those Florida.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter with the breeze. I love.
Yeah. Well, this is a three seasonal Florida room. So ain't no breeze in winter here.
No, you ain't got to go down there.
Freezing your Scarolis out here in winter.
Yeah, you're freezing.
I just wanted to say thanks. It was great hooking up with you.
Are you kidding me? It was
seeing
great.
Like this. This was a blessing. I enjoyed this. I was actually thinking about it while I was doing my workout. I was pumped up. Like, this is great. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, 2 more, because Richie would want 2 more, baby.
Hell yeah.
And so, yeah, I appreciate this. This was great, man.
Always remember one more for number 1. My buddy used to say. We used to have all these funny sayings when we were younger. 1 more for number 1, or go heavy or go home. And
yeah, go heavy.
Remember Nino, my buddy, when we were like,
yeah, I remember Nino.
This was his thing before he was great at getting me to the gym. I'm a big closer. I'll get to the gym no matter what, but I start off slow. He was the guy who was insane to get to the gym and then was after a half an hour ready to get out. You know what I mean? I was the one who was kind of dragging ass, warming up, getting it going.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to leave, so it worked perfect. He would always be screaming. This is when he'd be yelling. Go heavy or go home. Raw dog. And then when he'd get tired, he's like, let's just go light and do it right. I used to go, he'd go for all these stupid things. But
that's funny.
I just sent you the girl who lost all that weight.
I saw it. I'm going to look at it later on.
It's going to be good. And I'm also going to be doing Mike Mango. Like I said, he lost around, 300 to 185. And I'm going to be putting up Guy Petrozelli. I don't know if you know him. He was in my first 2 films, but he's a dual pro athlete. He used to do, he's even at 21, he got accepted into the strongman in Hawaii on Conan.
Right.
So he's a monster and a goddamn beast. And he trains people in Illinois for many different things. But I'm going to be putting his up as well. So I think you'll definitely love listening to him because he is so damn legit, doing marathons, triathlons, things in that nature. So, yeah.
I look forward to it. And keep the WTF are you doing? I love that thing, man.
And I very seldom swear on my podcast now. I don't know what happened to me. My mother even, everybody says, Rich, you named it that and you're not even F-bombing. I'm like, I don't feel the need. I guess I would if we get nuts, but.
Yeah, you don't need to. Oh, I think it's perfect. And I love it. You got the Italian thing on, yeah.
I don't. My buddy Greg and all them, they'll call me. They're like, man, what's going on with you? Why aren't you F-bombing? Why don't you I'd like, dude, I'll do it. If you get in a conversation, you want to get nuts, but I'm talking with people that aren't getting, what am I going to start F-bombing them? It doesn't make sense.
That's funny.
Sometimes I'll F. My mom's like, don't you dare F-bomb. I said, Ma, the show's named after an F-bomb. We're saying F-bomb. We're not even saying fuck. So anyways, yeah, this was awesome. Well, and when I saw you at my birthday party, thank you for coming to that party. That was awesome.
Listen, I appreciated the invite. And I know, look, my cousin looks at you as his best friend. I know there's several of you guys together.
Yeah.
And so you mean a lot to my cousin, and automatically it becomes family no matter what. So it was a privilege to come in there, and a great honor, and I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed meeting your family, and I enjoyed learning when they go, "Wait, you're related to Pins?" And I'm like,
"Oh, Jesus,
the freak is Pins?" And there's Joe, that's me. I'm Pins. Hey, come over here. Look at me.
Well, how many nicknames does he got? Joe Spaghetti, Joe Pins, Joe Shroom, Sheepheads Bay Joe. What else do we got him? Joey Pinscampi. There are so many nicknames. Oh, Jesus.
I'm Joe Spaghetti. Pischetti.
Pischetti. There's another one. Yeah, that was good. But when I saw you, because what happened too is I wanted to get people on this podcast. We're getting long-winded, but who gives a shit? They could go if they don't want to listen. But the truth is, I wanted to get so many people on my podcast, and I want unique individuals that have like careers like yourself. But my schedule sucked, and a lot of times yours was very hectic as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember seeing you at the birthday party, and I says, I got to get Brian on my podcast, because it's not only, you've had your ups and downs with gaining and losing weight. Like, I mean, a lot of stuff. And you take an honest approach to it, which a lot of people, they either want to pretend they're not going through it or just ignore it or whatever. You want to live a healthier, better life for yourself, for your wife and your family. Yeah. And it's a journey. And your honest approach always on where you're at, it's just legit. And that's what I love about having conversations with you.
I appreciate it. And so in case people are actually hung out and here this long to listen, in case they're like, well, how much weight did he lose? So I went from about 316 pounds to 252. I'm in a size 2X. There's a couple things I can probably wear 1X, but I was in a 5X then. So if you can imagine, and my jeans are at least at a 42 waist. Yeah. Some in 44 because some jeans fit a little different, but I was at a 54, 56. I mean, I was in like that big and tall stuff. And then one day I looked at myself. I said, oh my gosh, right now I hate life. I do. I hated life. Yeah. And so I had to make a change. And again, I don't stop. I try and look at new ways, because you do plateau. Yeah. You do hit a bump and you kind of go, and my new way was watching your stuff and going, I like this. Richie speaks to me. My gosh, I didn't even know he does these things. And that's where it's like, I'm trying all these different things out. But, and again, not like one day here, one day here. Like I said, I keep it, in that tunnel. So that way I can, stay grounded and one thing at a time and making sure I follow it. So I thank you a lot. It means awesome. A lot to me, brother. So. Yeah,
I used to be a 54, 56 coat, and I was 250. I wasn't as heavy as you, but did you do a before photo when you were real heavy? Because eventually I got to do a before and after. You want to do. Those people love that shit.
I do have one. It's actually with a shirt on, though. It's when I was at Disney. I keep it. I got to find it because I got like 13 or 14,000 photos in the phone. Because I pay Apple to have that big cloud so I can keep going. But I'll find one. I'll send it to you so that way you can see.
Yeah.
Can I drop an F-bomb right now?
Are you fucking kidding me? What?
Okay, thank you. Because I was a fat fuck. When you see this picture, I'm telling you, you're going to be like, who the fuck is that guy? I'm like, yeah, that was me.
You liked eating. You didn't miss a meal. Well, you went from Jersey, you're in Chicago to boot, which is, I think even when you first moved there, you kind of knew of the beef sandwich, but you just related it to just a beef sandwich. But as time goes on, there's some great comfort food in Chicago, and it's pretty affordable.
Amazing.
You can get there's so much food, as you know. So anyone's going to gain weight. But, sometimes we gain weight. We don't even realize sometimes we're gaining the weight we're gaining, even if we're getting on the scale. But I was a 4X. I get it. But I was more obsessed with getting big for fit, but my waist was big too. And, it happens. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully, again, it also didn't help when the doctor looked at me like 4.5 years ago and said, your blood pressure is so sky high. I got to put you on meds. And I'm like, meds? Like, yeah. He's like, you're a walking time bomb because you're too heavy. Yeah. And I'm like, call it for what it is. You can say I'm a fat fuck. And I said that to the doctor, I remember. And he's like, well, we have other ways of saying those things. And I said, I get it. And that's when I said, you know what? Don't put me on the meds. Give me a week. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I did. And he says, well, you know what? You got to come back in 30 days, Brian, because I got to test you out. In 30 days, he was like, you lost 7 pounds. He's like, are you doing this wrong? I'm like, no. I'm doing this right. I'm
You're
not
doing
done
it real
yet.
right. Take your time.
And, and it just continued on. And so, again, I'm trying to always evolve and develop myself.
Yeah, and when I saw you at my birthday party, literally, it looked like you lost, a lot of weight. When I took a double glance at you, because for one, it was a surprise, but also I looked at you and said, wow, he's lost a substantial amount of weight. That was pretty shocking when you see that.
And putting muscle on at the same time too, I mean, when I do the weight, I mean, I got to tell you, when I started doing, at least when I incorporated the weights, because I didn't incorporate weights right away. I incorporated, some of the cardio from a treadmill, the walking, elliptical, 10 minutes here, whatever, all I could do at that point.
Yeah.
And so you should see me when I did bench press for the first time. My buddy put on a 45 on each, and I was like, oh, I can't do it. Like, get it off. And then I put on a 10-pound on each, and then I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then after doing 3 sets of 10, I was like, holy crap, this hurts. This hurts.
Yeah.
Now, when again, I'll do, because I know that there's the sculpting and I know that there's the bulking part. So I try and change up each one, a little sculpting, a little bulking, depending.
Figure it out.
But, now I can put on a 45 on each. I can put on then another 35 on each, and then I can put maybe a 10 on each.
Nice.
And hit it out about 4 times without anybody. But then at that time, for 5 and 6, I need a spotter. So, I mean, I've come a long way. I feel good,
You're a strong guy. You're a strong guy. You and your cousins, you guys are all strong men. You just had to develop that strength too.
Yeah.
It just took.
Good point. Good point.
Right. So you also never discovered the true strength that you have, which I talk about in my videos. Most people don't realize their true potential or what and it doesn't mean you have to become Hercules or you have to bench press 400 pounds eventually. What I'm saying is most people think they're weak or they think they can, or they're just not is strong, durable. They don't think that way about themselves. They think I'm out of shape or, back in 18, I was strong. I played football. Now I'm a weakling. I've lost all that strength. That's not the reality. A lot of people can get stronger later in life.
Yep. You
can end up in better shape at this age in your life than you were in your past and stronger.
Agreed.
Right.
Then I can look like you.
Yeah. I know. Good luck. You look better than me. I got my own damn issues. All right, brother. Thank you for doing this. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to post this. I don't know when. God, I got to come up with a cool title because, I don't want to do just a weight loss thing with you. I wanted to kind of like the journey through Hilton or I want to include your name, but maybe what the future of the Hilton or something like dedication to your company because I know how much you love Hilton and all that stuff. So, all right, brother. I'll wrap it up there. Thank you.
Mahalo, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too, man.
All right.
Bye.